again, if you have anything you'd like to talk about or you'd like me to talk about, let me know now, or we'll just go off on yes, 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay.
David, down under.
But David down under, all right. Got in right under the thing. All
Got
right.
in right under the wire. Here he comes.
I got in on 7. I was going to wait till 10, but I thought, no, I'm not going to take the risk. I'll just go at 7 while you were on the count. Hey, Paul, all I wanted to say was that thing you said the other week when you were talking about the saran wrap,
Yes.
and you said, you said, I think you said to me, you're not the saran. Look at what's looking through the saran wrap.
Yes.
I think something like that. I can't remember the exact. That really helped me the last couple of weeks. Like there was yeah, I could really sort of do it. Oh, see it. Yeah, yeah. That's all
Yeah.
I wanted to say. Yeah, so just a quick thank you before you get going. Yeah.
Yeah. See, sometimes how it felt is if you walked around and you had saran wrap in America, it's sort of a clear wrap. So you can see the bologna sandwich that your mother gave to the 8,000th time at school. Saran wrap. If it was around your head, you wouldn't know it, yeah, because you can't see it. You'd be seeing through it. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to see the saran wrap, you'd be seeing through it. And that's its effect. But what's infected isn't changed at all. The awareness isn't, because the awareness is before the saran wrap. Yeah. But in this event, there's movement through, and therefore you may be looking through like 50 layers of saran wrap. It's just like a lot of people, times I meet people and we're sitting in their car and they're talking about their need to be clear, and their windshield is completely dirty. You can't almost see through it, but they're talking about clarity, and it's just basically just clean the windshield and you'll see. Yeah. So it's not the clarity, it's not the awareness, it's what it's looking through. And self-centeredness
Or
or
the
the
idea of self.
oh, hmm? We maybe get the zoomers again. Self-centeredness is a form of looking through. You're looking through something. So you're looking through an idea of self. Yeah. You're not seeing the idea of self, are you? No, but you're looking through it. And and in that way, the awareness is just neutral, it's just space, yeah. But then when it seems to be focused and directed, we're looking through self-centeredness like a lens, and then we see everything as how it pertains to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
So,
may see the thing, but you don't see the intention. Yeah. So you see the bird or you see the dog, but you see the dog as how it pertains to you, like you're the owner of the dog. Yes. And then you have memories of walking the dog and picking up all this shit. Yeah. So basically, with the saran wrap, it's sort of like it's like, here's the idea of self-centeredness that you're looking through, and then you're wrapped even more. So it's a very, very unclear, it's like a Coke bottle. You remember in the old days, the Coke bottle, the bottom of it was very thick. Yeah, it was glass, but it was vague, and it would actually sort of mutate what you were looking at if you look through that. Well, this is what it does. So there's a looking through these glasses, let's say, and it sort of mutates or changes proportions and shit like that. Yeah, yeah. But what's being used to affect the change is unchangeable. The awareness isn't bent or determined by the glass it's looking through. Yeah. In the head, it has a much bigger part. The head is sort of like the telescope, and there's a belief that it's seeing the stars. Yeah, but obviously it isn't. The telescope has never seen a star. It facilitates seeing of stars, but a telescope has never seen a star, and the non-existent thing has never seen a thing. Yeah.
so, So
Have
in your
never seen a thing. It has mechanisms that if there is an onness, it will incite an experience. Yeah. So the facility, the idea of vision isn't the eye seeing. The eye is just the camera, so to speak. Something sees through the eye, but the eye never sees. Yes. So self-centeredness takes, many of us grow into it. It's not like we chose it. There was just, that's how it is. The programming is a self-centered programming. So we sort of get used to that. Yeah. And at that point, we're looking at everything, and there's a very little investigation in what we're looking through, because there's an assumption it's us. Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes the myopicness of the self-centeredness produces a lot of effects. For some of us that go down the addiction hole, there's an irritability, restlessness, and discontent. There's like an unease, and you don't know, it doesn't seem like anything's making it. It's just there cooking. Yeah. And of course, it sort of demands a reaction, and those reactions usually are ignorant. And you start doing shit to get out of something you're not in. Yeah. So now you get stuck in the in that you're not in gets reinforced, and the belief in it gets reinforced by the drive to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet the in has never really been looked at. It's just a huge assumption. Or as Ramana, if you read that part in his teachings, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing being an existent thing. That's what we're talking about here. We're starting at a presupposition that very rarely gets looked at, yet everything gets looked through that. We look at everything through that, but we don't look at it. Yes?
Right.
So when the saran wrap is taken off, suddenly it seems like you see anew. No, it's what you were seeing through that was cloudy and screwed up. Yes. So there's nothing that needs to be done to that which is seeing. It's the idea of what it's seeing through. Yeah. And what happens is what we're seeing through is emphasized, and a lot of interest and attention is soaked in there at the expense of what's seeing. Yes. And to the point where we we come up with mystical ideas of what's seeing, meaning like a god or something, and the seer is going to find that which is seeing, but the seer is the seeing. Yeah, as it said, instead of the seeker and the sought, and the constancy is the seeker and the seeking, and the sought changes. So we're basically constantly starting from the seeker, and there, because of that, there's an irritability, restless, discontent, and then the seeking gets triggered. Yeah, and then the seeking looks at different sorts. Yeah. So at first I saw it one way, and then inevitably many people come to spirituality. Yeah. Because the disappointment of the seeker and the seeking, and they think, well, I have to change what's sought. Yeah. So I'm going to give up seeking money, and I'm going to go that. And so a lot of people go through almost like it's when they talk about someone dies, and then there's anger, grief, there's a certain stages. When you go to certain stages, most people obviously that come to this idea of non-duality have been involved in a lot of spiritual seeking. Yes. There's been sorts. They've used different vehicles, but the same seeker and the same verb was in all of them. Yeah. The only thing that changed was how you sought and the sought. But the seek, and with the hopes of changing the seeker, but never changing the assumption it's the seeker. Just amplifying it, making it better, or having a true belief it's worse, and on and on. And it's just like it just goes on and on. And the thing is, we believe we're looking this way, but the looking this way is reinforcing where we're looking from. Yeah. So when we're seeking, it's being used to reinforce the seeker. And that's its agenda in the head. there's no point in being the found. It's not emphasized. It doesn't have a value. It's the seeker, yeah, being inferred by all the seeking. That's what it's looking for. And so when it hears that it could take lifetimes, it's fucking great. Jesus, I have a purpose to look for that's going to reinforce the seeker with a verb of seeking. And you're going to have to seek a really long time. Fucking great. Yeah, it's sort of like it's sort of like when he says that people being ourselves reality, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. And then a couple of sentences later, it says, we believe reality is bound, it's being kept from us. Yeah. And a lot of people usually end up they have something to do with that. Yeah. And now their idea of reality is based on your utter destruction. Are you going to run to reality if it's going to be the end of you, the end of the seeker? That's what the sought being found represents. It's like I have a beautiful woman who had a twin. She came to the talks from Sweden. And her idea was when she died, she didn't want to be a nobody because she loved her sister. She wanted to have the love of her sister forever because they were so thing. And it was all made up as a way of not going anywhere now. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't want to get the message because the message is there are no people and I want that person, my sister, to be with forever. And I go, wow, that head made it. That was an incredible move by the head. So that not wanting caused a pause in her here. So she felt like she wanted to get something, but she wasn't allowed to get something because if she got it, it meant she would never be the sister to the sister she always wanted to be the sister to. I said, where did you read this? Where does it say this? Yes. So this head is, okay, the only way I'm going to get reality is my utter dismissal or the termination of me. You better believe you're going to slow walk wanting to attain reality. Yeah. So the whole dynamic, the head has cognitive dissonance already in place. Some part of you loves the idea, and then there's a large seemingly part of you that hates the idea. And so therefore you're going and then and you basically don't go anywhere, but something gets reinforced. So non-duality says the seeker, okay, yep, me, the seeker, let's get ready. I'm going to learn a new way to seek, just like you look for new ways of meditation. First it was Zen probably, then near the end it's probably Vipassana. Yeah, but they're different forms of meditation, and you're thinking, well, this really is going to work, and that didn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because you're in it. Yeah. Because the meditation is secondary, even though it's the act is triggers a presupposing of being the meditator. So when you start moving towards the cushion and you've only heard about meditation, when you start moving towards the cushion, the head has you as a meditator already. So now the possibility of the absence of you has been completely negated, and it's that movement of becoming the absence of you is reinforcing the you that's going to be absent. Yes, you see it? It's doing it all day, and most people don't see it. And all you do is see it. There's no changing anything because it's programming and it's not of you. Yeah. It's not of you. Just like something that's not a body is not going to chant, it's not a body. It's very clear it's not a body. Only the body identification is not clear it's not a body. So it wants to chant, I'm not a body. Because it sees the body as being the obstacle to the next move to light, let's see. So it says, okay, I'm not a body, I am free, I'm just as God created me. and then sort of like chanting that. But then you notice, what the hell? Only a body would chant, I'm not a body. Yes? Only the seeker would believe I have to stop seeking. No, you don't have to stop seeking. Just use the seeking to see that there is no seeker. Yes? Use the seeking to look at what that assumption of being the seeker that's getting reinforced by the claiming of the seeking. Just look at the seeker. That's all. Look, where is the seeker in the seeking? Where? See it. There's a lot of seeking. You seek a lot of different ways, but where are you? There's no one there. So suddenly, the seeking loses so much fucking meaning when there isn't a seeker before it. When there's a seeker, seeking is incredibly important on a lot of levels. I got to seek a wife, I got to seek this, I got to seek money, I got to blah, blah, blah. But if the seeking was first, yeah, and there was no seeker, the seeking would be, you would travel so much differently with the verb of seeking. But we're carrying a heavy load of being the seeker. Yeah. So let's just check it out. Are you that which is, are you the sought or are you the seeker? Because it says in our little world, the seeker is the sought. So if you're the seeker, the sought has to be distant and somewhere else. And the only way it seems that you can arrive there is through seeking. Yeah. But if the seeker is the sought, you'll see the bogusness of the seeking. Yeah. Because without the seeking, see, I thought I was a spiritual character. And I really, as soon as I got satisfied and content, I lost all interest in spiritual seeking. I wasn't looking for spirit. I was looking for relief from Paul. When I got the relief from Paul, that was it. You know, cancel my subscription, shit like that. Don't send, like those things on Amazon. Get it every month. No, it's a subscription, sign off, fuck it. But I had the story, I must be an old soul. And the nobility of climbing and falling back, but climbing again. And as soon as I felt satisfaction and contentment, I had absolutely no interest in the warrior story. The spiritual warrior, like that, dropped like in a second. Yeah. Because all of the interest has been directed as the seeker. When you lose interest in the seeker, yes, yeah. So how do you get to see, quote unquote, the seeker? Look at the seeking. And then just ask, who is it that's seeking? Use the seeking to ask a question. Yeah, bounce a question off the seeking. Who is it that's seeking? And to me, that's the most valuable use of seeking, is the bounce off of a question from it, which is, who is it that's seeking? Just like Ramana had this little thing from one of those books, and it was, something everyone asks, the idea, this idea, is there free will or is it predetermined, or predestination? And then people got slick and they said, well, there's free will in predetermination. Yeah. And so he didn't even say anything about that question. He said, if there's a sense of individuality, there'll be a sense of free will. Yeah. They want to just go to the free will. But what was motivating that question was the sense of individuality. Because if you can occupy a lot of time concerning free will, the sense of individuality gets unnoticed, gets unquestioned. And he had the hierarchy correct. If there's a sense of individuality, did not say if there's an individual. A sense of individuality is not an effect of the cause of an individual. It can be made up. You have a lot of senses all day. You feel like this, you feel like that, you feel like, Bob, nothing's ever going to work. A lot of it's just translated. It's just feelings, and the head translates it. Yeah. So the head can make a sense of a lot of shit. So there's a sense of individuality, but it's not like an aroma coming off an individual, but that's what it feels like. I believe if there's a sense of individuality, there must be an individual. No. So it says if there's a sense of this individuality, that sense comes along with an accessory, which is the sense of free will, to reinforce the sense of individuality. Because if this wasn't your life, whose would it be anyway? If you're not the author of the doing of this life, the whole story of this is your life would fucking collapse. Yeah. So it's imperative for the story, for the sense of individual story, that it has free will. Yeah. This isn't about changing any of it, because what's been described there has nothing to do with you. You have an awareness. It's sort of like the spacesuit. No matter how long you've worn it, and no matter how many miles you've worn it and traveled in it, you're not a spacesuit. Yeah. You're the ghost in the machine. You're whatever. Yes? So sense of individuality, free will. So again, we always do it. They went in, I lived in Byron. Byron Bay was like the spiritual mecca of Australia. I don't know what it was now. There was tons of things going on. And there was these uh, free will weeks, yeah. People questioning, is there free will, for like a week, sitting there, sitting there, sitting there. And I could have just ruined it by just driving them to fucking Baskin and Robbins ice. Yeah. Because of course you feel like you have free will when you go into a 28 flavor place. Yes, because you have a sense of individuality, but they're not yours and you're not having them. It's just being produced. Yeah. So when you notice what you're not, it doesn't change. Your plan to change what you're not shifts completely. The urban renewal project gets canceled. When you see you're not this, a lot of the budget to probe it, to understand it, to promote it gets dismissed and spent much more wisely. You do. You lose interest in it. Yeah. You don't lose interest. You lose interest in you. You don't lose interest. Yeah. If you don't see this, you're going to try to be a non-self as a self. Yeah. You're going to try to somehow graft non-duality into the reality of being a thing. Yeah. And it just doesn't work well. Yeah. So, all right. Anyone have a question? Anything? If not, I'm going to go because there's some new people here. This is how it all just downloaded and played out. When I felt I had a position in recovery, some older person in recovery noticed that I could articulate stuff that people had a hard time understanding. So he put me in a position to run a workshop, yeah, and to go over a very important step in the program recovery, which is the fourth step. Yeah, and I had this position. We dropped the spirit of rotation, and I had it for a long, long time. And if I was away in another country, when I came back, I would be able to just slip right in there. And I didn't come up with these understandings. They just were there. The understanding that got revealed when I would go to that meeting and something would move through me, I believe my condition was more important than that condition. And if my condition wasn't sufficient enough, like spiritual as I would think it, then that thing that was coming through me would probably stop. Yes. Because I still had the most important role without knowing it. And then every Monday for years, I went through tons of conditions and nothing ever stopped the thing from moving through. And it became obvious it didn't give a shit about what I was like or how I felt. or anything. All I wanted was me as a form of transportation, sit there and it would go do this thing. Yeah, incredible. It just warped the whole understanding that was completely bogus, but it was one of many. Yeah. Then so therefore there I'm going here, and suddenly, wait, that condition's not dependent on my condition. Yet a lot of things I hear about is I have to get my condition in so many different other conditions to meet that condition. Yeah. I've got to purify, I've got to do this somehow. And then started to make less and less sense. And then I went on a retreat, a very nice, beautiful place. We used to call it the upper middle way, Serenity, where? I don't know what's the name. Yeah, Spirit Rock. And so I went on there and I was there. And after 12, 14 days, they were having a retreat that people came and went when they wanted. So it was like a 3-month thing, but I stayed 2 weeks. Yeah, it's okay. And they had a meeting with me before I left. And they asked me, did you drive here? And I said, yeah. I says, your car in the parking lot? I said, yeah. I says, they say, we'd advise you not to go home on the freeway. I said, well, all right. Yeah, take the back roads. You don't want to get any kind of, yeah, sort of like they gave me like a 1,000-year-old Chinese crystal called my condition. And he said, and do you like listen to soft music as you drive, and don't eat any spicy foods or something like this or shit. Don't watch horror movies or whatever. And I'm going, this, I mean, should I get like a bumper surrounding it? I mean, it just seemed like it was a manufactured condition that they held it in this place for 12 weeks, and now it was being moved outside the museum, and they were afraid it would crack at and I went, wait a minute, this can't be it. How could this? It just blew my mind, because it was now my condition was the supreme player in the condition. Yeah. And then that just stopped, and there was like a forced humility. And it wasn't humility like of being humble and shit like that. It was recognition of the irrelevance of this thing that had poured so much relevance in it. Yeah. To the point where it could block me off from the sunlight of the spirit. Give me a fucking break. Yes. Or I have to barter through it and, pay him to let me get in only for a minute, get a little light. No light for you, like the soup Nazi, Yes. This thing was the gate, and it was not a gateless gate. There seemed to be a lot of gates and a lot of locks. And it looked like I was going to have to do a lot of things to get those locks. And every time I opened one gate, the other gate locked, and then on and on. Yeah. But if you see the before in this world of after, a humility of position comes over you. Yeah. In a sense, you're the driven at best, and definitely not the driver. Yeah. And I'm not saying a thing is the driven, and I'm not saying a thing is the driver, but in the theme of it all is you are the driven and there's a driver. Yeah. For many of us, the driver has been the head. Yeah. And we are the driven by that. Some of us, through that complete obsession, led to addictions and then bottoms, and we came to our senses and we saw that there could be another driver. But the role of being the driven was ours, so to speak. Yes. And therefore, then when you started to feel another driver's influence on you, it was like hallelujah. Yes. And suddenly the head was put into a place not high on the hierarchy. Yeah. Yes. And then all the interest and attention it was sucking up got dispersed and spent and invested in a way you couldn't have even imagined. And then I could not have imagined. I was in such a height of interest in self, I couldn't imagine a lack of interest in self. Couldn't. The only way I could imagine it was with a lot of interest in self. But this message and other things brought that interest, and then instead of like this, it spread out like molasses, and just brought a relief that was incomprehensible to the head. Because the more relief that occurred, the less and less relevance I had, so to speak. Yeah, I'm not doing follow-up non-duality exercises every day to keep in non-duality fitness. I'm not. When I stretch, it's the body. Me is not stretching. The body stretches. Yeah. And the body is getting tighter and tighter, and stretching is appropriate. Yeah. Not 1 second in that do I believe it's me that's stretching. Yeah. So yeah, that's why we're here. We come back every day. Because if you don't see this, you're looking from it. Yeah, and if you're new again, we're in a process of time here. It's called a life. And I feel the fastest process I was pointed to or noticed was the process of the mental state claiming whatever was going on and using it to reinforce its narrative. Yes? So verbing, the mental process is selfing. That selfing has never made a self, will never make a self, but implies there already is a self. So when you're listening to selfing, you're a historical doer. Yeah. So every time you do something, it isn't the first time you've ever done something. You've been the doer of tons of shit. And in that speed of that claiming, I can't get before that as the product of it. I am the product of the claiming of living. I am the one alive. From that point, that's after the before. That is not no time. That's of time. So my identification, the identification as the thing is of time. And we start at time, and I do not believe we can get before time as this. Yeah. So, and I believe this gunslinger, when it comes to a process, is going to beat any process that you attempt to do as it to get out of the original process. I think its infection goes all the way through. Your antidote doesn't. Yeah. So you're going to feel like a self when you're not a self. You're going to feel like a self when you're doing good. You're going to feel like a self when you're doing bad. You're going to feel like on and on and on and on and on. And any process that says we're going to eradicate the self must be a process of death, so to speak, because it's not going to work. Yeah. So what happens? The first process is the greatest influence. It influences everything that comes after. What comes after does not influence it. Yeah, you cannot unself something that isn't so. You have to just see it as it isn't so. Yeah, your attempts to get out of something you're not in is the bigger in of this whole event. Just like it would surprise me when people, there would be like the revolution of a system. And then you realize the revolution is part of the system. That basically nothing that happens is out of the system. Just like when Neo got the news broke to him that he was the seventh savior in the Matrix, where he obviously thought he was the chosen one, not the chosen sixth or seventh. Yeah. But basically, the architect of the Matrix said, "Hey, there was an aberration when we first started. We gobbled it up, and now we've had 7 saviors." That stuff rang true. So how am I going to get out of what I'm not in? Yeah. And how am I going to get into what I'm not out of? Yeah. I'm not out of any moment. So I have no interest in trying to get in. Yeah. Yeah. And now I'm not in this idea of self, and I have no interest in getting out of self. Yeah. Because getting out of self has one quality in itself. So that's not getting out. Because you get out of self as self. Yes. Yes. So, yeah. I've been in this like it's like a washing machine. I went through a lot of fucking, you know, yeah. And stuff, some change that was stuck in like my, let's say, faith and wisdom. I mean, in reason or intellect. After a few washes, it finally dropped out. So, but you get in there, everything out of your pockets eventually drops out. Now I'm in a state of being completely dumbed down, literally. I could probably capture my day as duh, duh, duh. It's, it just goes on and on and on. I thought I should have known better by now. This doesn't, nothing comes up. So, hey, have any questions? I humbly believe in time, you're not going to undo what was never done. So there's an assumption that something was done that was never done, and the wanting to undo it is part of reinforcing this mistake of done. Yeah. So the seeker is the sought. It's not the seeker and the sought, which is this an ongoing loop. The seeker is the sought is a compression. It puts an end to something that never started, right? It's like a sandwich of recognition and all the seeker and the sought, and all the time, seeker is the sought, like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, there.
Yeah, hi, Paul.
Yes.
Floyd has his hand up.
Who has his hand up?
Floyd,
Lloyd. All right. And William.
Floyd,
Oh,
Floyd,
hey,
your friend.
my friend. My friend?
Mm.
All right. My friend Floyd?
Yeah, you know Floyd. You know him.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here he comes.
Yeah. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Floyd.
Is there a reason why some of the non-duality satsangs, they still incorporate some kind of meditation or some kind of singing or some kind of activity, or is it just entertainment?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe it's to produce a feeling that would be, they would believe would be more beneficial for other things to land. Yeah. Yeah. I like the bare bone thing, first of all. That's all. Yeah. My feeling is really, I don't feel tons of love. I feel emptiness. That's the thing. So I go that way. So if we were a store and we had the shelves, there'd be very little on the shelves. Yes. Where some people, they have hints of all the things they're into with the names of books or whatever. The shelves would be bare. Yeah. Yeah. You gotta just go with how it was with you, present. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Guided meditations, I remember that. I remembered a guy I went to. Guided meditations were cool, but the thing is, you need the warning that after the guided meditation, you thought you were the one who was guided in the meditation. Do you see? Right? So when they're singing, you get lost in the singing, but the head doesn't. It sees the singing and and emphasizes the singer or the hero. Yes. Yeah. When you go into ecstasy, the head is just waiting because whatever goes up comes down here. And when it comes down, it's going to greet you as, oh, I was in this incredibly elevated condition. And without this understanding, it's going to just be the foundation that you're going to be relying on. I've seen it. I've been working. This is important. Thank you, Floyd. I used to go to Toronto area a lot. And when I was in Toronto, in a certain couple of years, we attracted a lot of people from the ayahuasca community, lots of people. And I had no idea there was so much going on, you know, and they were very, very thankful because when they went onto these journeys, when they came back, they were greeted at the airport by me. Yeah. They came off. You may not have noticed it, but second you got hugged and then you walked out with your friend. Yeah. Yeah. And they were surprised. They went to incredible dismemberment of every possible idea, but the fucking idea of self survived the whole fucking super cleansing. And in a little bit of time, they were now the big ayahuasca taker. Yeah. So this is what singing, not singing, dancing, not dancing, praying, not praying, meditating, not meditating. Just realize that something is going along with what you think you're in, and it's claiming it. And it's going to present you once again. And usually you immediately is recognized as me, and it gets carte blanche entrance. And yes. And this is the neutering effect of all these peak experiences, because the peak experiences is now used to emphasize the one who had the peak experience. Yeah, yeah. And I don't care about all that stuff. I care about a warning about what's going to happen, because the head may look like it's knocked out. It's getting up. As long as you continue, it will continue. So if you think it got the greatest knockout punch, yeah, and you leave the arena and shit like that, it's gonna be in the locker room waiting for you. Seriously, you can't kill the fucker. It does. So this is why this whole thing went this way. I was being used, first recovery, then I started meeting these people in different spiritual groups, and then non-duality. And then something told me in its way, which is nothing said. It says, just stay on this, because if you don't see this mental activity, you're going to be looking from it. So you see the huge event, you're going to be looking from its interpretation of the huge event. And every picture is going to have you in it. Yeah. This isn't about erasing that you, it's noticing it's not you. Yeah. And I think it's fucking stubborn, man. I know everyone here's had peak experience, and you would humbly and just think that must be the end of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I just saw Brilliance Light. I was into Akashic Record, and it doesn't give a shit. It just waits, it gets up and goes, oh, that was a great, yeah. So yes, I humbly believe this is the most important thing, because you already are what you are. Yeah. Here, the importance is where or what you're looking from. Yeah. The awareness isn't enough, because the awareness has been claimed, and it's now you are the awareness as a non-existent thing. Yeah. And it is stubborn. You would think I shot a lot of drugs, and I sometimes the drugs with Coke, they're not a nodding out. It's like a explosion. Your heart and your brain is being just bright. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and I thought I would get 30 seconds of freedom from this thing. And every time I came to, it was there. Just waiting. It's like, let's figure. What took you so long? I got run of the car. It was sitting up in the corner of the ceiling and the wall. Just wait. I'm gonna give you a month or two, but let's go. I got places to go, people to see. So yes, I am convinced this is not about one thing has to go for the other to do okay. This space, there's nothing in it, but there appears to be things in it in different levels and frequencies. Yeah. None of them are taking up any space. None. None of it has to be stopped or altered. The head could be firing on all of its cylinders and doesn't change a fucking thing. Just this is a key to understanding that unlocks the awareness from the bondage of self. Yes. So it doesn't, it's not called you being aware. It's just awareness. And then you see the neutrality of it and the emptiness of it. Yeah. 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 All right. Yeah, Floyd. So I don't know. I mean, I went to we used to have people would sing at ours, but because they asked me if they could sing, but we didn't have it planned. And it was nice. I like the joy of what do they call them? Kirtans. But again, no matter how beautiful the joy is, the head will claim it. It doesn't, there is no forbidden thing to the head. It will claim whatever is going on, or if it's not anything going on, it's going to claim. Yeah. So, and I swear, I sat 13 hours a day in Thailand a number of times for 21 days, once, not eating much, meditating 13 hours a day. This thing was, it was my unwanted companion. Eventually, it was just, yeah, I mean, literally. So, and it's not going to go away. See, this is the trip. You can't shoo it away because it's not here. This is not like, oh, the reason why you can't get to where you want to go because there's a big tree blocking the road. There's no big tree blocking the road. It's us projecting something. Yeah, we're being used to project this thing. Yeah, and every time where we do, there's the projection. Yeah, it's not like it's so fast it's following us. It's us in a way. And I humbly believe with this understanding, you can see it instead of looking from it. And if you see the activity of it, you will realize you're not it. And what will happen? A lot of interest and attention is going to migrate. You're not going to pick where it's going to go. You're going to find out where it goes. Yeah. You are going to be in a I don't know point. And you're going to find out what life has in store for you when it brings it to you. Literally, you can do your this or that, but it's not you anyway. But basically, you're on a need to know basis and you're going to get what you need to know. And I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to hold it and put it away. It's probably going to go just as fast as it came. Yeah. Because it has a point and a purpose, and it's not about hoarding understanding or getting super wise. It's emptiness, literally. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep.
So Paul, I
Yeah.
think I want to check with William Stamps. Yes, he does want to come in. And then after that, Rick Rowe, I think was. Come on, William.
Okay,
You're all unmuted already.
thank you. Thank you, Paul, for tonight's meeting. Uh, I'm getting rather older. I don't want to tell my age, but that's besides the point. The point is that a lot of this stuff I got on an intellectual level. And a lot of this stuff I can understand to a pretty good degree. But there's still a sensation, there's still pain, and there's still stress-related stuff. Now, how do I deal with feelings and pain and things like that, in spite of the fact that I think I understand a good part of what we're talking about?
Well, the understanding of it isn't a get out of jail free card. you'll just realize the jail sentence is finite. Yes? So what you are could never be jailed, and it makes it a lot easier to travel through whatever you're going through. But maybe it could cause an effect on this on the level of the physicality. Maybe it doesn't, but there's no like rote, this is the deal. You understand non-duality, the pain will go. It's not that way, I don't feel.
I mean, it sounds like you're saying, and I think I heard you say it before because I think I asked this question. Our karma will become lighter, will travel a little lighter.
Well, yes, because a lot of the pain is really the reaction to it, the suffering. Yeah. So the suffering definitely can be affected much quicker, I believe, than the physical pain. Because most of it is an add-on. A lot of the suffering obviously is an add-on as of a reaction to the pain. Yeah. And there are things now, they're getting pretty good at relieving pain. A lot of things, yeah. So, I'm in pain all day with a body. I got run over and, certain things were affected and they would probably be effective if I lived to 150 because of the seriousness of the damage. Yeah. I mean, my body is twisted like a corkscrew and things like that. If I don't have an insole in the shoe, my back, it's just so I've learned how to keep it going by some tricks. And one day maybe they're not going to work, but so far they work. Yeah. And it's not like, it's like having a Toyota. You think you're going to do a great thing. If you have an old Toyota and you change something in the car, it affects all the other things. So it was working because a lot of shit doesn't work, so to speak. And then when you change the fuel pump, then you have tons of trouble. So in a sense, I'm not doing an overhaul. I'm just patching it. It's like, okay, this is the ship. I'll just try to stop the leaks, yeah, until I get to the harbor, the port, the destination. So, but I don't see a correlation to the understanding of non-duality and relieving pain. I know it relieves the emphasis that makes pain where a lot of suffering grows. It changes that. Yes, the suffering. Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but then learn things that can make it a little easier. Or to me, distraction is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for me, service, I mean, being obsessed with self or being obsessed as self, when I entered, I needed a real strong antidote, and that was service. It pulled because my attention was, there could have been a fucking nuclear explosion. It wouldn't leave me. There was a lot of, it just sat on the same perch, shitting, like those buildings that pigeons have been shitting on, just shitting all the time. Very difficult to get pulled away. Yeah. I mean, you had to do something like jump in cold water or fucking, yeah. Yeah. But now I've mastered forms of distraction for it. And something turned it from a news station to a comedy show, which has made it's really been great. Everyone here is like one of the cameo performers that would come back every year in Seinfeld. So you're like, yeah, there's fucking Kramer over there. There's this guy, Putty, and yeah, and it's just a huge comedy show. Keeps me amused. Yeah. So yeah, I know a little bit about pain, and I wish you the best. But I would use the wanting to use non-duality or expect non-duality. If I could really understand non-duality, it would relieve me of the pain. I don't think that's going to work. Yeah.
No, I hear that very clearly.
Yeah, I remember, Ramana died of something in his neck, cancer, right? And Nisargadatta, these people uh were not relieved of pain, physical pain. They probably traveled a lot lighter through it, but they were not relieved of it. And I remember a story where Westerners got upset or lost faith in Ramana because he was crying out in pain. And he said, how could Ramana, I mean, the body, there's an experience on a body level and there's pain. And sometimes the body will want to cry out, it's never been you and it never was you. Yes. The body's not going to be what you call a saint. Yeah, remember that story? There was one that was a German movie, and they had this. It was in Tibet, set in Tibet, and there's young monks, and were going to go and retrieve a monk that had been an older monk that had been meditating 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 hours. Yeah, in a cave. And so the young monks were like, this was like Mickey Mantle in monkdom. And they go there and they get him, and he's, nails and everything. And they take him out, and one of the monks is going to sleep in the same room with him. And it's a great honor to him. And they're laying down, and the young monk wakes up and he looks at the old monk, and there's a big tent on the blanket, and he's got a big boner. And he's having a wet dream. And the young monk's like, this whole idea. I think that's a misunderstanding. Yeah, I do. Water coming through a hose the hose is never going to become water. The hose is a hose is a hose. The body is a body is a body. I don't care how much light's coming through it. It's not going to turn into light. Yeah. Yeah. So render the hose to the hose, and then honor the water as the water. Yeah. Yeah. So some great people, a lot of stuff came through, like Trungpa Rinpoche. He was taken by alcoholism, and he was begging for a drink, I think, at the end. Yeah. Does that mean what came through him was bogus? No. It means the idea that it was his was bogus. Yeah. Do you ever see water move? It doesn't choose the clear hose. It just chooses the hose most inclined, so to speak. Yes. It's got a drive to go. And if it doesn't matter if there was a gold hose this way, it ain't going in. But because there was an access and a point, it can go right there. Yeah. Enjoy that watch it is coming through them. But don't pin it on the thing. They had it with a Tibetan guy. I did a talk with this dude from Duck Chen, and so he used to send me stuff on Facebook. I don't go to Facebook now. And one of the was this big thing in the Tibetan community. There was a recognized enlightened Tibetan Lama. Yes, on that level, everyone recognized it. And he now entered dementia, and he was like drooling, didn't know where he was, and it was some people were flipping out because they actually believed it was him. He was enlightened, the body. No, but the body was destined to go into dementia in that case. Yeah. And so it did. And they were like, wait a minute, how did that come through him? And now this is being expressed because there's nobody fucking home. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Remember Rajneesh in the beginning? Rajneesh, incredible movement and everything. And then he's sniffing nitrous oxide and fucking falling asleep in a dentist chair every day. What the fuck? Yeah. This is, I mean, yeah, yeah. I think these are big mistakes we make. Not we there's no person, but the system has a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of misunderstanding. And this is what happens. Yeah. To see the forest from the trees, in some cases, a lot of trees have to fall. And the trees that fall are these misunderstandings. And you see, yes, someone would see a master or a saint or whoever, someone who was pretty traveling lighter, and then the people would watch what they did and make a path out of it. But what he was doing was expressing where he was. He wasn't using anywhere to get to where he was. He was expressing where he was, and he can do it it can express, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't, it's doing the same thing he was doing isn't going to lead where he is, because he didn't get there by doing that. He was expressing where he was. Yeah. These misunderstandings are what get collapsed if you just sit in satsang and you sit and if you read something and it pauses you, stay there a second. Don't go to the next sentence. Yeah. Because you're going to see the forest from the trees. Non-duality is beautiful. I've never seen anything that can bring out the deepest misunderstandings into the light. Yeah. Really. And then there's an honesty to recognize it, because you do have a feeling it's not you. So let's have a fearless inventory or a fearless recognition. And you see now how hard it was to see anything the way you were looking. Yes. Yeah. It's not you, it's the way you're looking, this self-centered way. Yeah. And so as we just went it with St. Francis in the AA meeting. It said St. Francis has a prayer where he's asking, please let me carry love, harmony, love, midbat. Never says, please let me carry me, or let me carry love. It just says, let me be the carrier of love. Let me, all this. Yeah. Yeah, I like that flavor. That's how I see the body. I do not see the body as the driver. I see it as the driven. Yeah. Have you known certain people that get taken over by anger and they flip out? Yeah. And maybe they do something and they get a 40-year prison sentence, but it wasn't them to begin with. Something came in, left a mess and split, just like tons of other shit happens. But this idea where all our jails are full of cars because everything is seen as the driven, is the driver. But I don't believe that. I believe there's options in the driving position. There may not be options in the driven. Yeah, here you are. Yes. But I humbly believe you're more like a sail than the wind. Yeah. And I believe wind is what's moving us. And I believe there's a wind of grace here. Yeah, I do. And you'll know it and feel it when it's moving you. Just like you get anxious and concerned when something else is moving you. It's like a horse knows the jockey by being ridden by it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how I feel today. All right. Anyone else?
You,
Yes. Rick Rowe.
Oh, Rick Rowe.
Good evening, friends. Good to see you, Paul, and thank you, Catherine, for your service. You know, one of the things that because I suffered greatly, and I believe this is a requirement. Well, it doesn't have to be a requirement, but it was for me to get to this place of where I got introduced to this satsang and a few others. But I've noticed that, you know, it is me hitting bottom with all these things that I became reliant on, so that I started to see that what I wasn't, to where brought me back deep within myself. Myself being, you know, of spirit, and getting to this place where I have peace of mind. I'm actually getting to a place where it's getting quiet. And then the self starts to come in, like earlier today, you know, saying, whatever it was saying to me, trying to get me to identify with all this other shit. And, you know, it's just nice to get relief from me, you know, of what you described as that constant bird shitting on me, and me identifying with that and carrying that throughout my days and ruining not only my days but other people's. And it's just so beautiful to get to this place where it's not there anymore. Not that it's not there, it's dissipating completely for me. So thank you, thank you for holding this space constantly, where I can just come in and just melt with all of this and get the information, or not even the information, just be in the presence of what this is, So yeah, gratitude.
Great. Yeah, this is all about suiting up and showing up. That's all is necessary. Literally. And preparation for that is no preparation. Suit up, show up. We have our giant spiritual library. This has grown to one page in 20 years or so. Wow, I can't imagine what it's going to look like in 40 years. Probably half a page. I want to read this just because I love it, and maybe if there's no questions to end it. This is really, this is to me, if I was like a mailman and I had a, whatever you call it, a route, and I run it like 30 years or something, it's like, this is what it's all boiled down to. This is what I would like to deliver. Yeah. So it is false to speak of big R realization. You would think, why? Why would it be false? Because when you speak of it, there's a separation from the realization. And something that he would say, Ramana, in his writings blew me away. He says it's always realized. So there can't be a realization of it. It's always realized. So what you are is always realized. So what is looking to realize that isn't you, obviously. You can get to the negation by the affirmation they're describing. And he's going to describe a huge affirmation, which is being ourselves reality. That's a huge affirmation. Being ourselves reality. So anything that would be trying to get reality or figure reality out, obviously is not reality. Because just like it says, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. So when the Buddha hears that, it makes complete sense. So you go, wait, yeah. Paul, it gets confusing, but it's meant to confuse Paul so that the Buddha comes out. And you see, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You get it. You get the message, yes? Yeah. So here, there is no greater mystery. That's that part. But this one is, it is false to speak of realization. What is there to realize? This used to get me if you read the teachings of Ramana, they've been written by different people. He goes to the main things. And one of them is this: what is there to realize? Yeah. The real is as it is always. That is an absolute, always. It's not saying only on Wednesday or based on how you feel. Yeah, no. The real is as it is, which could appear zillions of ways. It can appear zillions of ways. It doesn't change the reality of it. It's real. There's reality, and then there's millions of appearances, let's say. But the reality of it is reality. Appearances are not reality. They're of reality, but they're not reality, yeah? They're the dreaming of reality, let's say. Okay, so he goes, the real is as it is always, and then he goes, how to realize it, then. All that is required, all that is required. Most people do not believe this. They don't. Most people do not believe all that is required is to see the unreal. Most people at most will say that's the mere beginning. But in fact, he's saying that's the only requirement. He is. Don't yell at me. This is Ramana, I think. It says here, how to realize it. All that is required is that we have realized the unreal. Have you realized the unreal? Yes. Oh, well, if anything comes up with the requirement, it's not you. Because you fulfilled the only requirement, which is seeing the unreal from the real, instead of looking for the real from the unreal. That's all, simple. So that which is looking, we're now looking at it and seeing it's not you. All right, and then he goes to that other thing, being the greatest mystery. The greatest mystery. What are you usually looking for to have someone who you believe has found out every mystery to share some of what they found out? Yeah, about the mystery of life and the mystery of why we're here and what's going on. And here's one that a lot of people thought was pretty high on that list of recognizing all the mysteries, saying the greatest mystery. So to save us all trouble, the greatest mystery is that being ourselves reality, we look to gain reality. So obviously, if we're being ourselves reality and we're looking to gain reality, that's not ourselves. Yeah. Being ourselves reality obviously would not be looking for reality. So being something else is looking for reality. So stop freaking calling what you're not you. Yeah. And see it for what it is, and you'll sense what it's not, and it's not you. Yeah. Simple. Only requirement, see the unreal from the real. Wow. That's the only requirement. And here, the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality. Yeah. So why should we use that? So he's saying that's happening, obviously. Yeah. He is saying it's not like a weird phenomena. He's basically saying that's exactly the condition we're starting in, is reality, aka Paul, is looking for reality. Yeah. So every aspect of that looking is going to tell you what you're not, because you are not that which is looking for reality. You are this, in that case, you are the sort, which is reality already. Yeah. So whatever has a movement towards it, figuring out and everything, is obviously revealing it's not you, based on the ruler that Ramana Maharshi has given us. He's just given us a couple of things. He said the only requirement is seeing the unreal from the real. Obviously, we've been looking for the real from the unreal. Yeah. Only requirement is to have that switcheroo, and then being ourselves reality, just look at what's looking for reality and greet it as not you, and have a fucking healthy suspicion. Yes. And there you go. What more do you want? Then come to satsang, hang out. If you like to sing, throw some kirtan in it. If you want to meditate, guided, get guided. They have some great ones, I think, on the internet. Yeah. Get running water. Go out, whatever. Doesn't matter. What matters is seeing the unreal from the real and recognizing that which is looking for reality cannot be us. Why? Because we are being ourselves reality. Yeah, that's it. Go on, my brothers and sisters. Go forward. We have 5 oases a week. Come back, sit around, hang out. Yes, make sure you have this thing. And then if you here, you can definitely see that which is looking for reality, and then maybe greet it with "I'm not that." Yes. If you think Ramana Maharshi is the godfather of non-duality, listen to what he's saying. It's the only requirement and the greatest mystery. It's not that you haven't gotten the super 12-fingered handshake meditation. No, it's just seeing the unreal from the real. Yes. And what? The other one being ourselves reality. So if I'm looking for what I already am, I cannot be that which is looking for what I already am, because I am already that. Yes, there you go, the ruler. Everything comes up, you can see it. Yeah. 3 shoots. Greatest mystery, requirement. Yeah, that's it. No, it's not like 8,000 directions to the mail. All the mail goes into one. Boop, 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 boop. Then get on with it, man. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't think anyone else at this time, Paul.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. It was beautiful.
Well, honey, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's your beautiful. See, I have to, no. Yes, I'll leave it at that. It's great to see you the other day. Rick Rowe. Yeah. Kerry. Yeah. Stephen Mack on having never left. This is the thing. That which travels to a reality is always greeted with on having never left. Yeah. This is negation. You negate that which is looking for reality. What is negated? Not that it's looking for reality, but the sense of ownership or that it's you. That's all. Yeah. And it will produce an effect, not because you're special or anything, but you will travel lighter through this situation. Yeah. Really, what more do you want? Yeah. So, all right. Stephen McDavid on Down Under. Nice to see you. Ernie, that little bit of willingness, Ernie, is going to go a long, long way. Just keep, yeah, you're going to run into logs because your little fire is on. And you'll meet the log, you drop it in. Yes, and there you go. Yeah. We got Anu. I hope you're feeling well, Anu. And I know you're very well, Anu. Yes?
I'm good, Paul. Thank you.
Give me that smile, Anu. I need an Anu. There you go. Thank you. That wasn't hard, eh? Judy Lovins. Oh no, this is Judy Love. I'm getting close to Judy Lovins next. Judy Love, nice to see you. Thanks for coming here and hanging out with us. William Stamps, nice to see you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. Frank from Tucson. He's found mayonnaise. Fantastic. We got Shannon. Shannon has disappeared, but I saw her this weekend. Alan Olson. He's in great joy because he's never going to get it. That's cool. Marl, sticking with us. Always a pleasure, hon. Steve, San Diego, James Olson, the brother of Alan Olson. Kathleen, Eric Vista, Mike G. Nice to see you, Mike. If anyone else is here, thank you. Thank you for hanging out with us today. And yeah, see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks,
Paul.
Kathleen.
Paul.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Ted.
Thanks,
Good
Paul.
to be here.
Oh.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bye.